We welcome you into week one of the Ken Sparks Show. I'm the voice of the Eagles Adam Cavalier alongside Carson-Newman's 36-year head coach, Ken Sparks. A wild week one kicks us off for the 2015 Carson-Newman football season, Ken. Program wins 600. About 600 points were scored in this one, 59-56. You take it over a pretty game, University of the Cumberlands team. So much to talk about, from record set to finally revealing certain aspects of personnel. But first, let's start off with program win 600. You've had a hand in 326 of those wins. What does Carson-Newman mean? What does this football program mean to the university? And what do 600 wins mean to you?
Well, I'm excited that we got such an historically significant program, you know, as far as starting back in the 1800s, you know, that football at Carson-Newman has been part of Carson-Newman life. And it's been a major part of Carson-Newman life, I think, and hopefully in a real positive way, that it's contributed a lot to kids' lives, which that's what Carson-Newman says that we're about. And so I think the most important thing we want to do is to prepare kids for life, and not only a life in this world, but in the one to come. And so it's been really encouraging to me to be part of it all these years. And you know, preachers and coaches don't stay as long as I've stayed here. You know, most of the time we can find a way to get fired or get run off, you know, because our sermon wasn't good enough or our coaching wasn't good enough, or we make somebody mad or something. So I'm just so grateful that Carson-Newman has a vision for touching kids' lives for eternity. And I hope that we never get away from it. In fact, I hope that we always make it a high point, the starting point for everything else. And I hope that I always make it, as long as I'm as a football coach, that it's the starting point for our football program. And if not, we're missing it. Mm-hmm. And because that scoreboard turns off, and I don't care how academic we are or how whatever we are at Carson-Newman, those scoreboards all turn off. But there's an eternal scoreboard that never turns off, and I hope that we don't miss that one.
We take a look at the life lessons. A crazy first half, a crazy second half. We break those down when the Ken Sparks Show returns after this. Welcome back on the Ken Sparks Show. The Eagles victorious in week one to start the season off 1-0 for a fifth consecutive year. Carson-Newman wins over the University of the Cumberlands 59-56 in football, right? That's not Chuck Benson and the men's basketball team going.
Wow.
A lot of points, Ken Sparks. Offense puts up the 10th most yards of total offense in a game, most combined points in a Carson-Newman football game ever topping that 1999 4-overtime national title game with Northwest Missouri State. First 9 possessions of the game, touchdowns are scored. You've been around the block a bit. Ever been involved with one like that?
Probably not as I've always heard it said, you know, every who gets the ball last wins. Yeah. Well, that was this game. You know, I mean, it was amazing. You know, I think they punted once, we didn't. We forced one turnover, and then we lose a punt on a 17-yard return after a great return, a great effort, and then we lose the ball. And but besides those 3 incidents where they lose one, we lose one, and they punt one, we held them on downs once. You know, it was amazing. And I'm just first of all, I'm so impressed with Cumberlands. Yeah. And their coaching staff and what they got done with their kids. They showed us every offensive formation and play ever designed by football coaches. And they showed us about every defensive front and coverage that ever designed by. So they just kept on changing things up. And then, of course, they had that 300-meter sprinter that we couldn't touch. If it's been two-hand tag, we still wouldn't have got him down. And 2 kickoffs and 1 reverse for a touchdown. So he's worth 3 touchdowns and about 300 and something yards. And so, you know, anytime you get beat that bad in the kicking game, even though the punting game was, when I say kicking game, it's kickoff, return. Our kickoff returns were terrible, and their kickoff returns were pretty impressive. And so probably should have quit kicking it to him. Our original plan was not to kick it to him, but they stacked him and got him where he could catch it if it was on the field. And so then that's when we started scribbling it. But anyway, back to your question. I rambled on you on that one a little bit. The question was, have I ever seen anything like that? And I'll have to say no, not exactly. And wow.
9 possessions, first 9 possessions of the game, all touchdowns. Take a look at the first half highlights. This is the Ken Sparks Show.
1st and 10 Eagles, no score, minute into the opening game of the season for Carson-Newman. Thomas under center, split backs. Jones to the right, Wimbush to the left into the game as the freshman. Isom in motion to the wide side right. Thomas takes, looks to pass, throws out to the right side, complete to Isom in Cumberlands territory. Pulls over a defender along the right sideline, down at the 41, and he lights up Max Bacon inside to the 39. A first down for the Eagles into Cumberland's territory in a gain of 25. Left is lonesome to the right. Man in motion, Ward to the right, ball equidistant between the hashes for 3rd and 8. Thomas back to pass, throws out along the right sideline into the end zone, all by his lonesome. Trayshawn Ward, touchdown! Carson-Newman. Trayshawn Ward lost in the shuffle from 26 yards out. He catches an easy pass to the right of the SN Eagles along the right side of the end zone. And for the first time in 2015, the Eagles have put points on the board at 6-0 with 10:30 left in the first quarter. Snap count doesn't draw the Cumberlands in a 4-man front. 4-3 look for the Patriots. Offside. 5 to get the playoff. Thomas does so. Hands off straight ahead. Baker. Baker makes a man miss. Keeps his feet at the 45. Racing his way into Cumberland's territory. Baker cuts back at the 10 where he's caught from behind and dropped down along the numbers right sideline at the 6 by Max Bacon. But still, Damian Baker. Thomas under center, split backs, turns, hands off to Jones, left side, gets under a defender and gets into the end zone. Touchdown! Carson-Newman. Eagles respond with a Jamal Jones run around the left side of the line. Jones, first TD of the season, puts the Eagles on top 13-7 with 9:04 left in the first quarter. Jones to the right, Baker to the left in the split backfield. 3 wide set, 2 to the wide side left, 1 to the short side right. Thomas takes, drops back to pass, throws over the middle of the field, has a man, Trayshawn Ward, in stride along the left boundary at the 35 in Cumberland's territory. He races forward down to the 25 before Max Bacon grabs him from behind. 1st and 10, Carson-Newman from the Patriots 25. Thomas takes, the give is on the dive left side to Damian Baker, fights past 2 tackles, hits the boundary left side across the 5, and Pater, touchdown! Carson-Newman. Damian Baker plunges his way into the end zone on a 25-yard dive left. And the Eagles, just like that, quick as a hiccup, are back out in front, 27-21, with 13:32 left in the second quarter. Thomas with the ball in the middle of the field, takes on 2nd and goal. Option keeper right side, Thomas ducks the shoulder and gets into the end zone over the right hash marks. Touchdown! Carson-Newman, the 35th rushing touchdown in the illustrious career of DeAndre Thomas, an option keeper around the right guard.
Those are the first half highlights. Eagles take a 35-28 lead into the locker room after the first half. You were talking about Wendell Williams as electrifying a return man, I think, as I've seen only maybe Newberry's Corey Washington, who's now a New York Giant. potentially compares, but quick as a hiccup, fast as all get out. Throw out whatever descriptor that you want to throw out there. How much do you learn from a game like this with A, a guy like that who has world-class speed, and B, with what Cumberlands did offensively and defensively, pretty much throwing the kitchen sink at you?
Well, I think it exposed us really. Nick Gervais was talking to me this morning. He's in charge of our kickoff. He probably hates for me to tell that, and because the coach is only as good as the execution of the guys that we put out there, but we're responsible too for what we see out there. But he said one time we had 2 guys left, and we had 3 knocked out of bounds, and we only had 2 left to try to tackle the guy in the half of the field, because 3 of our guys got Velcroed and knocked out of bounds. And so we had a lot of new people playing. I asked a question this morning when we ran. We ran at 6 o'clock this morning, and I asked a question, guys, how many of us have made mistakes? Mm-hmm. I held up both of my hands because I've got a head start on them. I've got a few more years than they do. And how many of us have learned from our mistakes? And if we haven't learned from our mistakes, then shame on us, because that's life. If we think we're going to go through this life and not get scarred up and not get beat up every once in a while, then we're pretending, because that's life. But that's what life gives us. It gives us an opportunity to respond to the blows and stand up and be counted, and keep standing up and be counted. And that's what I hope for them as far as their life is concerned, as far as football is concerned. I hope that we'll bounce from this and grow from this and learn from it. We better, or we'll be 1-10, and we'll be looking for a new football coach. So, I was stretching my neck to see how some of our young guys responded, especially on defense. We were playing more young guys on defense, and it showed up pretty bad.
We break down the second half when the Ken Sparks Show returns after this. The final from Carson-Newman's opening contest, 59-56. We welcome you back on the Ken Sparks Show. I'm Adam Cavalier, alongside the Eagles head man, Ken Sparks. Ken, let's talk individual efforts from that Wild West shootout on Thursday night. DeAndre Thomas, sublime in the passing game, 13 completions, more than 200 yards, 4th career 200-yard game for him, and he contributes to the 5th most passing yards in a game in the Ken Sparks era. Aerial offense seemed to be on display. Was that the game plan? Did you take what the Cumberlands gave you? What was the mindset going to the air?
Well, it was part of the game plan. Of course, we think we're capable of throwing the football. DeAndre is a special quarterback. Yes. And look at Noah. He came in and throws one pass for a touchdown. The plan was to play Noah more last night than we should have. We still had a lot of breakdowns in the passing game. Dre had breakdowns last night in the passing game. A couple of times he looked to one side when he should have been looking. His progression should have took him to the other side. Coach Turner and the offensive coaches did an unbelievable job of taking what they gave us last night. And we several times converted big 3rd downs on the passing game. That was huge. And Steven Isom disappeared for a while. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did.
And we thought he broke his collarbone. And but they got him fixed back up, and he came in and made 3 big catches at the end of the ball game. So offensive coaches, way to go. Players, way to go. But we got a lot of improvement. When they watched the video this morning, they realized there's still a long way to go.
Damian Baker, great start to his senior season. I'm not certain that me plus the rest of the coaching staff in a phone booth could tackle him. So many yards after contact, third career 150-yard rushing performance for him. What about the job he did on the ground?
Well, just a tough rascal, you know, and I love Damian Baker. And I tell you what else he did. He really was a team player last night. He was keeping people excited, and you see him block on pass protection 2 or 3 times was unbelievable. And caught 2 or 3 passes, and he actually caught 1 or 2 in his hands and still captured it. I call him the capturer, you know. But he's got an unbelievable ability. And the running backs ran really hard last night. Way to go, Coach Rebates. And the quarterbacks played well last night. And Dre is furnishing unbelievable leadership. Way to go, Coach Woods. And the offensive line, thank goodness we got them. And way to go, Coach Turner. And so we're getting better.
Damian Baker, 70 yards rushing in the fourth quarter. Big factor into these second half highlights.
To the ground, can he motivate the Eagle defense to get a stop here on 3rd and 5? Cumberlands with the football at the Carson-Newman 25. Craig takes the snap in the I formation. Comes up throwing out left side. It's batted into the air and out of bounds. Ian Jacob with the hands to punch it away before it can get to DJ Rozier.
Stopped up at the 21-yard line by the Eagles. That is a push down, Carson-Newman.
Thomas takes the snap. The give is on a dive to Damian Baker. Damian Baker, a whirling dervish at the 10, pirouettes his way to the 5 and punches it into the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. A hat trick for Damian Baker. 3 scores for Baker, and he's now on the plus side of 150 yards for the 3rd time in his career.
Those are the second half highlights as the Eagles come away with a 59-56 victory over the University of the Cumberlands. When we return on the Ken Sparks Show, Michael Wattrang shines our Eagle spotlight on CN's 3 preseason All-Americans. Back on the Ken Sparks Show, time now for our Eagle spotlight. And this week, Michael Wattrang shines it on Carson-Newman's 3 preseason All-Americans.
Long snapper Dusty Nance, quarterback DeAndre Thomas, and wide receiver Trayshawn Ward have been picked as preseason All-Americans. Entering Coach Ken Sparks' 36th season, the Eagles have had a postseason All-American in 33 of his first 35 seasons. For Ward, the individual accolade will mean nothing without winning a title.
It's the last go-around, so I've never won a SAC conference championship, so that's the first goal. And going from there, just attacking the playoffs full force and just being able to mentor the younger guys.
Leadership is a quality that all 3 preseason All-Americans highlighted. It is an expectation for any team's quarterback, and Thomas has ensured that he is setting an example.
First thing is just being more vocal. I know my past 2 years, that haven't been really much of my thing, but this year it's been a lot different. I know that I got to lead by example. That's one of my big things, just leading by example. And then when players see you leading by example, it's easier for them to follow as well.
While Thomas and Ward will leave Mossy Creek cemented in the record books, Nance realizes he will not get recognition unless something goes wrong. In his first 3 seasons, the Lewisburg, Tennessee native has not seen a kick blocked. That kind of success rate has put him on the radar for NFL teams, but he is focused on his final season first.
Personally, I hope that I make every snap that's needed perfect and help the team to the best of my ability get down the field and try to make a tackle. I don't do that often, but I try my best, and I hope that my team, we take it as far as we can for my last season and honor the Lord with everything we do.
The thought of one final season is sinking in for this group of seniors. Ward has embraced his added leadership role and is enjoying teaching the next generation.
As you're doing it from a different perspective than you looking up to somebody else. So dealing with the younger guys and mentoring those younger wide receivers is very different, and it gives you a different perspective on life, and it teaches you a lot.
Thomas has soaked in the information from offensive mastermind Mike Turner during his first 2 years as the starting quarterback. His work in the weight room and in the film room has given him the perspective on where he still needs improvement.
I think minimize the little things, like just little steps. If you take the wrong angle on a certain play, that can like trigger it being a small play than a big play, and just being able to execute what's called. And would think 9 returners, 8 or 9 returners, that should be one of our main goals, executing the play that's called and not second guessing the play. Just whatever it's called, just execute it.
The common theme between the 3 student athletes is an other-centered attitude. Deflecting individual accolades for the betterment of the team is something that every Carson-Newman All-American has taught the next crop. For the Ken Sparks Show, I'm Michael Wattrang.
All right, thank you very much, Michael Wattrang, 3 preseason All-Americans, Ken, and now a lot to work on. Turn your attention to the Shorter Hawks, who roll in here for a noon kick on Saturday, September 12th. What needs to happen between now and then to get ready for another triple option team in Shorter?
Well, a whole lot of improvement, and I hope that some of our young people will take huge steps after this ball game, and usually they do. I counted it up. I think there was 26 guys that had never been in a Carson-Newman game that played significantly last night. And it was significant because we never got a lead much. And so I'm hoping that they're going to grow up a whole lot. And then we had several that didn't play last night because of little injuries, and I hope some of them will be back. We really missed a couple of guys up front. We signed 3 defensive tackles that we were really excited about, and 2 of them didn't play last night. Mm-hmm. And so we're hoping that eventually we'll get those guys back. May not get them back this ball game, but eventually I hope we'll get them back.
Ken, blast as always, and we'll talk to you next week after the Shorter game.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and go Eagles.
It's Carson-Newman head football coach Ken Sparks. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. This has been the Ken Sparks Show. Thanks for watching.